Welcome to Tim Connolly Drums live stream. I got my pad out here. We're going to do a little bit of pad stuff for you drummers out there. We're also going to do some, some chit chat and catching up a little bit pre-Christmas. I've also got something really exciting here for those of you, those drummers out there that are not brush players. I highly encourage any drummer to pick up a set of brushes and learn how to play these, because brushes are awesome. So we're going to go over a couple of brush things today. We're going to go over a couple of pad things today, and it's going to be really awesome. All right, so I want to just wait a couple of minutes until we get a few people in here, and then I will welcome some people in here. I got a coffee down here. I encourage you guys to grab a coffee. Let's put these sticks over here for a moment. Encourage everybody to grab a coffee. Join me on this Saturday morning. Cheers. And we're going to talk about music, talk about drumming, talk about life, the usual fun stuff. And we've already got a commenter. That is fantastic. I got to get these on though. Good morning from New York. Well, good morning to YST Music. Good morning, and thank you very much for commenting. The camera, you guys are going to laugh, but the camera's a little bit far away from me so that I could fit my pad in here. And I can't see from that distance. So got to get the glasses out to be able to see all the comments. Or I'm just going to move the camera possibly a little bit closer if I notice quite a few comments. But I appreciate you saying good morning. I really do. I always enjoy the live streams. It's fun to interact with people in the live stream. I am going to move it closer so that I can read. Actually, I just realized I can actually read your comment over here. Let's put it up here. A question. Excellent. And the question is, Tim, have you ever played any orchestral drums? Very excellent question. I have. Not a lot. I've had some orchestral training. I studied with a drummer right here in my hometown here of Hamilton. His name is Ernie Porthouse. Ernie is one of the finest orchestral drummers in the world. He's mind-blowing. His snare drum technique is out of this world. He's fantastic. He's an amazing sight reader, and he's an amazing player. He's my friend. He's my teacher. I've known him for, I don't know how long, 35 years. He's always played in the Hamilton Philharmonic, and I learned a lot from studying with Ernie, and I've done a few orchestral gigs or gigs that require orchestral type orchestra playing. It's a whole different bag. And I know Ernie. Ernie is one of the finest snare drummers and drum set players around. He's the best. So, obviously he takes the bulk of that work because that's his bag. But I have done some orchestral drumming. I've done a little bit of timpani, not a lot. Ernie's fantastic timpani player as well. Again, it's a whole different bag. Snare drum playing. I've done a lot of marching bands, not necessarily marching, but the drumline part. I actually teach drumline once a month. So I've done a lot of drumline. I've done a lot of snare. I mean, I've worked so much on the technical aspects of drumming and snare playing, and studied with some really, really fantastic snare players like Ernie. I mean, I was a student of Ernie's, and we did drums and snare, but to learn from one of the best, you absolutely can't go wrong. You know, this guy's just incredible. So yes, I've done a little bit of orchestral, but like I say, it's not my bag. You know, drum set playing and snare playing is more my thing, but I've done a little bit. Thanks very much for your question. That's really fantastic. Oops, hitting the wrong thing here. All right, like I was saying about the live, it's always fun to go live because I enjoy interacting. If you guys, you know, hopefully we get some more people in here and we get some questions rolling, and people, you know, enjoy to interact with me the same way that I enjoy interacting with them. Like I said, get yourselves a coffee and settle in for the morning. I'm alone in the house. My kids are both at a swim meet. My wife is reffing that swim meet. I ref swim meets as well. One thing about competitive swimming is they get the parents quite heavily involved in the reffing aspect of swimming because it requires anywhere up to 32 refs to fully referee properly a swim meet. It's a hell of a lot of referees, and it's almost always the parents. We get trained and we ref the meets. And so my kids are swimming. They've already raced one race each, and they got a second race coming up. My son actually may be done. I'm not 100% sure. He may have already raced. I'm not sure. I was there last night. I'll be there tonight. My son made the finals in the 100 breast, so I'll be refereeing tonight. He's probably not going to be in my lane, but but yeah, I'm one of the lane referees. So we have another comment. Well, good morning. Good morning to Amos. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate that. Guys, I'm bouncing back between trying to see everything because without my glasses on, I can't see that writing. So sometimes I'm going to look here. Sometimes I got my computer set up over here for the purpose of reading the comments just to make it a little bit easier. But yes, thank you very much for joining us today, Amos. Now, couple of things I wanted to talk about was a couple of my recent videos. People have been asking me questions about various things, and I want to dig into that whole rock star thing a little bit. One of the comments that I made in that video was, if Amy Winehouse, if John Bonham, Keith Moon, Kurt Cobain, John Lennon, I mean, Michael Hutchins, the list goes on and on and on and on. If all of these people had never achieved the amount of fame that they achieved, because all the names I just listed are some incredibly famous and very important to the music industry rock stars, had they not become stars, would they still be alive? Now, of course, we don't know 100% for sure, but based on the lifestyles that they were leading when they were alive and rock star, doing the rock star thing, I'm going to say they probably would be alive, especially John Lennon, who was murdered. Especially John Lennon. Elvis Presley is another one. Elvis, I believe Elvis was murdered in the same manner that Michael Jackson was murdered, by doctors giving him prescription meds, and by the colonel encouraging these meds, the management involved in these artists encouraging the doctors to give these musicians the drugs. I mean, it's disgusting. I'm getting a few comments in here, so let's just let's check these comments. Randomly found your channel, just subscribe. All right, thank you very much, the Home Brewery. And we've got another comment from them. One could even ask, would they have died sooner if they didn't find their calling? You never know. Well, yes, but I doubt it. I doubt that. I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because the fame itself often leads to the alcohol, the drugs. If you're a regular person, I'm not saying, I mean, millions of regular people have the same problems that stars have. I'm not suggesting that just because you're a star, you got more problems than other people. That is not the case at all. A lot of regular people have a lot of problems in their lives, and they turn to alcohol and drugs and whatnot. But these stars, chances are they may not have turned to alcohol and drugs in the same manner that they did because they had so much money. You got to remember, these drugs, I know addicts don't have money and they somehow manage to get their drugs, but a lot of times they were using rich people's drugs, cocaine, for example. You know, they were using alcohol to a high extent where you got to have money to be able to buy it. You know, so while I appreciate your comment, you know, I personally just believe that they probably would not have passed away had they not found their calling. I feel, you know, you become part of an agenda once famous. Yep. You're just a product at that point. Sadly, sometimes products are more valuable. Whoops, sorry, I kicked that out. Once out of print, or in a human's case, deceased. Yes. Another thing about being a star is once you get to the top, there's so much incredible pressure on you to stay at the top. An incredible amount of pressure. And some stars fold under that pressure. They just can't deal with the fact that the record companies, even the fans, put a lot of pressure on them to succeed and be in a situation where they are being set up to succeed, but they don't always succeed. Or at least the record company does what they can to help them to succeed, but oftentimes the artist fails by human reasons, you know. So yeah, thank you very much for your comment, home brewery. So the other aspect of fame is that you lose your privacy. The paparazzi is insane. You know, if you think of Diana, I'm not a musician, but still extremely famous around the world. Princess Diana, she was hounded mercilessly by the paparazzi. You and I, we don't understand what it's like to constantly be filmed and photographed. Imagine, you know, you run outside. Oh, I forgot to put the garbage out. So you run outside and you got a crappy robe on, you got a stupid hat on, you got your fuzzy slippers, you're in your jammies, and there they are taking photos of you, you know, and you're not looking your best by any means. You're just taking the freaking garbage out. But what happens? They're on you. They're on you, and they relentlessly won't leave you alone. That is the part of the rock stardom that I am not interested in any way, shape, or form. I really don't want to be hounded mercilessly the way that a lot of rock stars are. Also, I think people's personalities change. At first, it becomes a novelty, like in the sense that it's fun. Oh my God, the people know who I am. People like my music. People, they want to talk to me. They want to hang out with me. They're reacting to me. Rick Astley comes to mind. He went from basically no one knowing who he was, no one, and within 6 months, he's the biggest artist in the world. How the hell does that happen so quickly? You go from 0 to 1,000. And then he said he just couldn't handle, I've watched interviews of him, he just could not handle the fame, the notoriety, going around and people not knowing that they are like interfering with this person's life in a sense. Like, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything without being seen, and Rick Astley had a hard time with it. Now, let me tell you guys a funny story. When I was young and Rick Astley was just breaking and you know, Together Forever and Never Gonna Give You Up, and all those songs were blazing on the radio, and he was extremely popular. My friend's brother looked exactly like Rick Astley. Exactly. So we're in a mall, and it was full. It was a busy mall, and there was a lot of young girls around and whatnot. Anyways, I just said, oh my God, it's Rick Astley. And I pointed at my friend's brother. Well, I'm not kidding you. All hell broke loose. People thought it was Rick Astley. And it was so funny at first. Then it started to get a little crazy, like, holy jeez. And my friend's brother was a young guy. Like he looked just like Rick Astley, but he was about, I don't know, 18 or 19. And all of a sudden, all these girls, oh my God, it's Rick Astley. Everybody wanting to get his autograph. Now, back in those days, this is the 80s, the cameras weren't a thing. So it wasn't like, take a picture with me, like with a phone. It wasn't like that at all. I don't even think, I can't remember. It happened like in a chaotic moment, but I can't remember if there was any photos taken. I don't know. But phone cameras weren't a thing, of course. But autographs and wanting to just talk to him and be around him, we had to leave in the end because of the pandemonium. And my friend and his brother were so mad at me for saying, oh my God, it's Rick Astley. I thought it was funny until it got kind of crazy, and we did have to leave because the whole mall was being disrupted by this. And we did leave, and that was the end of it. You know, never did that again. And unless someone really, really points out and really, you know, you got to really look like an artist to be able to pull something like that off. But it was pretty funny that we did. It was pretty funny. I'll never forget that. Yeah. Still laughing about that. So let's see. We got a few more comments here. Okay. I want to tell you guys, I missed out on some comments. Whoa, there's a lot of comments. I missed out on a bunch of comments last time, so I'm going to try and not miss out here today. That is true. Home Brewery says it certainly doesn't help to be, yeah, there it is. As far as drugs go, it definitely doesn't help to be a rock star. I agree with that. And then another comment, okay, I already saw that one. They say a lot of rappers get killed because the studios take out insurance policies on them as part of their deal. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, record studios are ruthless. Ruthless. I've been involved with record studios, and it's all about money, man. They pretend like they care about the artist, but they do not. If you put yourself out there for all to see, I guess that does change the dynamics of your life. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you put yourself out there to be judged, criticized, people, you know, find out about your life and the things you've done and whatever, absolutely, it changes your life. There's no doubt about that. Like I said, imagine if these people didn't put themselves out there, would they be alive today? And I believe they are. A real life Rickroll. Yes, before Rickroll was even a thing. Let me see if I've missed anybody else here. I don't think so. No. Good. I'm keeping up with this. I don't want to miss any comments. Last time I did a live stream, which was a while ago, it wasn't until I was done that my son pointed out to me, you missed a ton of questions. So if any of you were at the last live stream and I missed your comment or question, I apologize. What I usually do at the end, and I'll do it again today, is I sort of give a countdown, and I say, you know, I'm leaving in 30 seconds or a minute or whatever. If you have anything to say it now. But people did, and I ended up missing them. So I'm going to try not to do that this time around. So yes, real life Rick Roll. I don't think his brother ever forgave me for that because he was overwhelmed. Good stuff, though. Good stuff. So let's talk about brushes a little bit here. Where did I put those things? Here we are. So not everybody in here is a drummer. I realize that. I'm going to try to keep the lesson portion to a minimum because I know that not everybody is interested in the lesson portion of today. But I do just want to show you just a couple things with regards to brushes. So I'm just going to alter my camera a little bit so you can see the drum. You can still hear me. You might not be able to see me. Fix my camera up here. It's It's on some weird angle and I can't, just won't. Okay, there we go. All right, sorry about that, guys. It's really messing up on me here. Okay. Let's move that out of the way. All right, brushes. Now, of course, you can use them as regular drumsticks. Sometimes I play brushes when I'm playing a train beat. Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison Blues, the original train beat. And of course, now that it's Christmas and I'm doing Christmas gigs, and I'm teaching like crazy, tons of students want to learn how to play brushes around Christmas time, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. 1, 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the right hand is going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's the jazz pattern, right? That's the swing pattern. Left hand is playing the circles. Now these circles, there's going to be different sounds you can get out of this. This is called the dry sound, or the dry rub. Not to be confused with the dry rub you put on ribs. Then there's the wet rub. Wet rub is when you bend the brush down, you can see, and you lean in. Leaning in like that creates a wet sound. Now what I like to do is a combo. So we got dry and then wet. And listen to the push. Up, 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 up. Let's change the tempo a little bit. I'm not a singer, guys. All right, if you got any questions about the brushes, it's now or never. Let's get a look at some of these comments here again. Glasses. All right, so let's see here. Going back to orchestral. The snare part in Ravel's Bolero is basically the same thing for almost 20 minutes. How would you as a drummer be able to not allow your mind to drift off? Okay, well, drummers, that's a very good question. As drummers, we sometimes have to play grooves for long periods of time. Now, 20 minutes is an extraordinarily long period of time, but I'm going to tell you what Jeff Beccaro, the great Jeff Beccaro, told me. I don't think I've ever told this story. I went to see Toto at Ontario Place in Toronto, long time ago, back in the 90s, before Jeff passed away, obviously, in the very early 90s. And I snuck into Ontario Place during sound check. At the end of sound check, Jeff was coming off the stage and I was approaching the stage. He saw me. Instead of telling me, "What are you doing in here, kid? You know, you're not supposed to be in here, blah, blah, blah." I engaged him and I said, "Jeff, can I ask you a quick question?" He said, "Yes." And I said, what did you do to develop your incredible sense of time and groove? What exercises can you give me to help me to develop mine? And he said, think of it as a race, in the sense that if you're training to run 3K, and if you train 10K, when you go to run the 3K, it's virtually a sprint. Now, some people would disagree with that. You've got to run the 3K and whatever, but I understand what he's saying. What he's saying, translate that to music, is if you're going to play a song that's 3 minutes long, practice playing the groove for 10. That way, when you go to play your 3-minute song, the groove becomes much easier. 3 minutes doesn't feel like an eternity. Now, in this case, 20 minutes, that's very challenging. I'm familiar with the piece you're talking about, by the way. It's very challenging. My wife is an opera singer. I don't think I've ever mentioned that. My wife is an opera singer. She's an excellent, amazing vocalist. So I'm quite familiar with classical music and operas. Very Puccini, some of the Puccini operas, incredible. So one of the reasons why I'm familiar with this is because I've never played that 20-minute part, but I have definitely seen it played and I've heard it. It's a beautiful piece of music, but 20 minutes of playing the same thing is very, very difficult. And you just can't let your mind wander. You've got to stay focused. It's like playing a gig. Like if I do a 3-hour show, even though I'm not playing any particular song for 20 minutes, I don't think I've ever played a song for 20 minutes. But even though you go from one song to the next, still got to stay focused. So my advice is just that you don't let your mind wander. When the girls start, trying to get your attention when you're on stage and they're dancing in front of you, you've got to stay focused. I mean, oftentimes I try to look over to the bass player and that immediately cuts out any desire that I might have for these girls. Since I look at that, ooh, look at that bass player. Oh. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question. All right, let's dip down here to Andrew, my man, Andrew. Yes, Andrew is a regular contributor on my channel. I'm happy to see you. Tim, how are you doing? Just joined the stream now. I'm doing well. As I was saying earlier, you may have missed it. I'm home alone. My wife is refereeing a swim meet and my 2 kids are competing in it. So they're all at the pool racing, and I'm here, and I decided, hey, I might as well do a live stream because I haven't done one for quite some time. So I thought, hey, I might as well get on here and talk to my audience here. Yes, thank you very much for commenting, Andrew. Andrew's a great guy. We haven't personally met per se, but he's always got positive things to say. And, that's another thing I wanted to talk about is today was, I don't know if any of you guys have a YouTube channel. I have 2. I have this one, and I recently just put out a video, the rock and roll video. At the very end of my video, I talk about my other channel, which is called Connolly Outdoors. And it's a camping channel because camping is my #1 hobby. I find it extremely relaxing to be out in the woods, in a tent, or many other things. Sometimes my son and I build shelters, so to speak, like using tarps and stuff. We're not actually tearing trees down and building them like that, but we'll do tarps, shelters. Sometimes we car camp. Sometimes we stealth camp, which is to secretly and illegally camp somewhere. So I'm out committing crimes in the wilderness. And when I'm out there camping, it's extremely relaxing. I love it. And as I mentioned in my last video, my favorite camping is actually winter camping. And I'm going out a week today. I'll be 2 days camping in Killarney. It's going to be -20. It's going to be insane cold out there. But with my hot stove, tent, I dress super warm. I really, really love winter camping. Now, it's a niche thing. Hardly anybody does it. We'll be the only 2 fools in that entire campground. It's open for anybody to camp, even in the winter, but nobody's there. We will be the only people there. And that's okay. That's the way we like it because it's nice and peaceful and quiet, and we can hear coyotes screaming and sometimes the odd wolf, depending on how far north we go. No bears. So I cook in the tent. There's no bears because it's winter. And it's going to be really, really cold, and the bears will be hibernating. All right, we got another comment here. Okay, I've been watching those creepy camping videos. They say it's not the wild animals to worry about. when you're out alone in the wood, it's other humans. 100% correct. I've had interaction. I camp constantly, like once, sometimes twice a month, year round, my son and we film a lot of it. And only a few times have we had interactions with animals. Well, actually every single camp I have interactions with animals, but squirrels and chipmunks and stuff, mice, that doesn't count. And I'm talking about like the animals that can potentially do you any harm. I've had some interaction with them, but not much. Tons and tons of birds and stuff like that, obviously, but not a lot of animals that are going to do me harm. Humans are the problem because they make too much noise. I usually camp in areas where there's not a lot of people for that exact reason, DYST music. I try to avoid people when I'm out camping because I want the peacefulness. I want the quiet. Now, winter camping, there's nobody around. There's nobody around. The odd time I've winter camp where there's people around, but it's very rare. I'm usually, if not the only person camping, pretty close to it. And if I find out that there's going to be people near me, there's so many campsites available, I move because I just don't want to have to deal with that. So I get it, man, totally. Have you ever had any scary encounters? Well, I just sort of answered that. I had one time where a raccoon came right up to the tent door. Liam and I were eating blueberry pie. Eating blueberry pie. And I wasn't filming at the time. I wasn't filming. We were just eating the pie. I had just finished filming that I'd warmed up the pie. Liam and I are eating it. All of a sudden, I look at the door of the tent, which was open a little bit just to get a little bit of air in there, because sometimes those hot stoves in tents, you get really hot. So I opened the door just a little bit of the tent so that I could get some air. As I'm eating the pie and I look over, there's a freaking raccoon looking right in at the front door like, hey, I like pie. I'd like to have some of that pie with you guys. Now, of course, when I reacted, holy shit, Liam, there's a raccoon. Of course, he took off, and I scared him off because I don't think he was used to human interaction, especially where we were. Actually, I think it was Killarney. Where we're going this week. So maybe I'll see that raccoon again this weekend. I don't know. Now, we're doing a 2-nighter. So I got to bring a ton of wood for that hot stove so we don't freeze our little heinies off. And I got sensitive little hands being a drummer. So I try to keep really, really warm when I'm out doing those camps. But what I wanted to say to you guys was I've noticed I've gotten a few more subscribers. I'm 15 away from 500, which is the first level of monetization. So I would really appreciate if any of you guys, or any help to get to 500. I'm 15 subscribers away on Connolly Outdoors Camping Channel. All right, Andrew. Hope that answers your question, Andrew. Okay. Tim, do you ever get hired to perform MIDI drums for a project, or do you only record live? Whoa, that's a good question. I've been hired to perform the occasional, not very often. I have done some programming. I've also played electronic drums in recordings. Not a lot of MIDI, un poquito, just a tiny little bit, but I've done electronic drums in recordings, and also a lot of drumming where the drums are triggered for specific sounds. That definitely, especially the snare and bass, definitely triggered sounds on the drums. That's pretty much standard in the industry, that the drum sounds get triggered. And then, of course, you play and clapping sounds, for example, sometimes overdub a clap. Like if you listen to Pour Some Sugar on Me, that early days, that Lynn drum, the Lynn drum was used. Lynn drum was huge. Holiday, Madonna, Get Into the Groove, Madonna, Human League, Don't You Want Me Baby, that's all the Lynn drum. And that clap sound on beat 4 of Pour Some Sugar on Me, when it sounds like wet, it sounds like it's water almost, that's the Lynn drum once again. So yes, sometimes I program some Lynn, actually, believe it or not, still occasionally using a Lynn drum. Not too often, only if the artist wants that, 80s sound. But if not, then I'm using a modern pad or you know, whatever whatever the artist is looking for in terms of sound. But yes, very good question, man. This guy has got some good questions, and I really appreciate it. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. Camping. A lot of you guys out there are gonna think this guy's nuts. He goes out in the middle of winter and he camps. But I'm telling you right now, as long as you can get past the cold, because the setup and the teardown is not easy. There's no heat when you're setting up and tearing down. There is no heat. So that part of it can be cold. But because you're active and you're so focused on getting set up, you're so focused at the end on getting tear down, and you know, you can get past the cold, even when it's minus 20, minus 25. I remember one time Liam and I camped out in minus 30. That's brutally cold. But I'm here to tell you about it. We survived. So, I mean, I'm very much an outdoorsman. So is my son. We love it. My son is really, really good at cutting wood. That boy can swing an axe incredibly. I prefer the chainsaw because it's just a lot easier. But he likes to get out there. He's traditionalist, and he likes to cut the wood with an axe, which is, you know, it's a lot of fun. You know, slinging that axe is really awesome. So, yeah. So I'm trying to develop that channel. I mean, it's not going to be what my drum channel is, because this is my career, so to speak. But the camping is just a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it. And I'm going to do a live stream this weekend on my camping channel as well, so that'll be fun. I've never done a live stream while camping, so that'll be really interesting. Now, one thing about camping in extreme cold, though, is when you're filming, your camera battery goes down so fast because of the extreme cold. I mean, I do film outside, obviously, when I'm camping, because it's all about the outdoors. But I do a lot of filming inside of the tent, and I try to keep the tent pretty warm so that my camera doesn't die. But I've learned so many tricks, you know, to keep the camera from dying. Obviously, one is, believe it or not, you know, those hand warmers. Shake one of those hand warmers up, bring some elastics, and when you're not using the camera, and if it's outside, or even if you are using the camera, if you put on a hand warmer with you using an elastic against the battery portion of where the camera battery lies, you can keep the camera battery warm so that it won't drop in charge super fast. Because out in the cold, the camera battery will drop so fast, it's unbelievable. Sometimes I've had to take breaks from doing what I'm doing in terms of filming when I'm camping, and I would have to recharge the battery. But then I discovered this little trick a while back about keeping the camera warm while you're outside using it. So any of you want to try that out? It's lots of tips and tricks today, not just drumming. All right, so any questions? Anyone wants to talk about anything? Let me know. I'm more than happy to be involved here. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anyone question-wise. Oh, here's another question. Let's see here. Okay, Tim, have you ever had the chance to go inside a anechoic chamber? If so, what was this like? I'm not sure. I don't know what an anechoic chamber is. Is that got something to do with the orchestral pit? But I'm just not familiar with the name. I'm not sure what that is. If you can explain to me what that is. Have I ever owned a set of AOTs? Radio Chaos. Yes, I have. Ray Ayotte is the owner, or was the owner, of Thai Drums, and I was endorsed by Thai Drums years ago when I was touring. I was endorsed by Thai Drums. They're out of BC, and Ray Ayotte was the owner of Thai Drums. It was the Canadian Ayotte drums at the time. Now, I don't think Thai is around anymore. I don't think so. But yes, I indirectly, through Ray, I've used AOT drums. They're great drums. Now, I will say one thing, because I remember writing an article for a few drum magazines after one of the conditions of the tour that I was on with my endorsement with Ty was that I had to do a write-up commentary on how the drums and everything held up. So the hardware, I didn't care for it. It kept breaking on me. It kept falling apart. The knobs would snap, and I would have to get emergency hardware brought in for the show. You know, we're running to music stores, either renting or buying stuff in a panic because the hi-hat stand fell apart, you know. So the drums were great. The AOT drums and Thai drums, they're fantastic. I can't speak for the AOT hardware. I can only speak for the Thai hardware, but I'm going to guess it's the same, or at least manufactured in the same plant. The hardware wasn't that great. I prefer Yamaha hardware. That's my go-to hardware. Pearl's got some really nice stuff. DW is really nice, but it's freaking heavy as hell. I'm actually thinking about going and getting the Yamaha ultralight hardware. And I'm talking to my friend at Long and McQuaid to see about arranging that I can get some super light hardware where you just throw it in a bag and it feels like nothing. It's like carrying air around. That's how light that Yamaha hardware is. I can't remember specifically what it's called, but check it out. It's a special room testing microphones. Okay, yes. I didn't know what that was called. Yes, I definitely have been in there because of some of the recordings that I've done have been in one of those rooms. I just didn't know that it was called that. So yeah, no reverb. In that case, my snare is causing some noise here. In that case, when you don't want reverb, it's usually because the producer wants to produce his own reverb. I prefer room reverb myself. I've done some of those recordings in a room like that where there's no reverb, and only because the producer on the track wanted to come up with his own reverb and wanted no natural room reverb. So yes, to answer your question, I have been in those kind of rooms, but not a lot, because I personally prefer room reverb whenever I'm doing any recording. And I haven't spent a lot of time in, like, you know, I've been to the Shure microphone plant, but I'm no expert on mics or anything. I mean, I know a little bit about them because of, you know, all the recording I've done and whatever, but I'm not a huge wealth of knowledge when it comes to microphones. I played with some people that are extremely knowledgeable about microphones, and I'm one of these people that I'm a forever learner. So if you know more than me, I want to talk to you. That's the kind of person I am. I don't have ego. Just because somebody knows something more than me, I embrace them. I don't think, oh, that guy is going to make me look stupid because he knows more than me about something. I don't even understand that. I had a coffee here. What did I do with it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I like to embrace smart people and learn from them. So if a guy was going to teach me about microphones, like engineers at studios, they know a hell of a lot about microphones. So when a guy says to me, this is the bass drum microphone I recommend, or this is the snare, we're going to put the snare Shure 57 on top, and we're going to put a Shure 57 or a 56 on the bottom, I know that this guy knows what he's talking about. Most engineers are really, really bright. Wow, that thermos is working well, because that coffee is still really, really hot. So that's excellent. Oh, yes. And you were saying it produces no reverb. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Just going to adjust this again. Now, one of the things that I'm trying to do with my channel is I'm trying to interview some people. So that's one of the things that I want to do is I'm trying to get Bad Brad to come on my channel, and he's agreed, but we just haven't hooked anything up yet. He's agreed. He wants me to go on his channel and I go on his channel. It's like a trade for those of you that watch Bad Brad. So if Brad, if you get a chance to watch this, give me your email. I've messaged him a couple times. We talk, And then it's sort of, you know, he's super busy. This guy produces videos like a machine. And I'm super busy too, in different ways than Brad, but it's just been hard for us to actually collaborate and actually get this, to get this video done, whether it be a video for my channel or his channel. That's what our plan is. I've also got a few other drummers lined up that I'm talking to that I'm interested in, you know, having on my channel. And it's interesting to get different people's perspective on things in the music world and in the drum world. You know, it's interesting, and I always enjoy talking to people. And like I say, I'm a learner. I'm a forever learner. I'm a forever lesson guy. Now, this leads me to something I really wanted to talk about today, because I want to keep this at, I got about 13 minutes left, really, just an hour. The reason that December means a lot to me, not just Christmas and whatever, is a drummer by the name of Jerry Connolly. Now, Jerry Connolly is very famous, but he's the most famous drummer you never heard of. He was the drummer on all the Charlie Brown music, all the Charlie Brown Christmas stuff. So, you know, Linus and Lucy, Skating, Christmas Time, you know, all O Tannenbaum, all those very famous Christmas tunes that you hear in the Charlie Brown Christmas, and you hear them on the radio like crazy. That's Jerry. Now, I knew Jerry, and sadly, Jerry passed away, and I have a story about that I'm going to tell here today live. And that is that I contacted Jerry because I love brushes. It's a dying art. You don't see a lot of guys talking or playing brushes. It's a whole different bag playing brushes than it is playing with sticks. You can do so many different things, so many textures, so many layers of sound. There's so many different things. And I've studied with some great brush players, but Jerry to me was the king of the heap when it came to brush playing. Listen to Skating, Charlie Brown. Listen to Christmas Time. You know, there's an instrumental version and there's one with the kids singing. The brush playing in that, every time, sometimes it's hard for me to listen to it because it's emotional for me. Also, it's so good. It's so good. The brush playing on those Charlie Brown tunes are mind-blowing. Linus and Lucy, while it's you know, do 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 do, it's an upbeat tempo. The brush playing is phenomenal, brilliant. Anyways, I contacted Jerry and I was going to have some lessons with him. We spoke on the phone, we emailed, we became friends, Zoom meetings, the whole 9 yards. And, you know, Jerry and I I was so excited to meet him in person because he was going to be playing in Toronto, and he was going to be, I think it was Massey Hall, and I was going to show up before the show. I had tickets to the show, going to watch the show, show up before, get a lesson with the legendary Jerry Connolly. And he passes away. Now, don't get me wrong. I was upset, not because I lost my lesson. I was upset because the world lost a truly genius drummer, not just brush playing. He was a great jazz drummer. Check out the Vince Guaraldi Trio, not just the Charlie Brown stuff, but check out the Vince Guaraldi Trio, non-Christmas music, playing beautiful jazz. I think Vince Guaraldi Trio is only thought upon as this Charlie Brown music, but if you check out the Vince Guaraldi Trio playing jazz music without the you know, the Christmas Charlie Brown thing, the music is fantastic. Vince was an amazing player. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of the bass player. It was obviously piano, drums, and Jerry, or sorry, piano, bass, and Jerry on drums. So I mean, the man was legendary, in my opinion, before Charlie Brown came along. Now, Jerry told me the story about Charlie Brown, and at first, Vince rejected it. All three of them rejected doing the Charlie Brown thing because it's a cartoon. We're serious jazz musicians. Go get cartoon musicians. That was their attitude. But then, as fate would have it, Charles Schultz, the you know, the Peanuts guy, the Charlie Brown guy, insisted he wanted that Vince Guaraldi Trio. He felt that they had the sound that he was looking for. So he managed to talk Vince into doing it. And of course, the rest is legendary. Those Christmas songs are brilliant. They really are. Don't think of them and focus on it all as just being, it's just Christmas music. I hate it. Listen to it. Listen to those layers and the brushwork that Jerry did, because he's absolutely brilliant. You can also watch Jerry and his trio when he was 80, 79 or 80, performing, because he would tour every December. For years he did that. He toured every December playing the Charlie Brown stuff with his new trio. You know, they were young guys. The bass player and piano player were young guys. And Jerry was, you know, in his 60s, 70s. He did it for years and years, the touring around doing the Charlie Brown Christmas stuff. Sold out show everywhere. And of course, people wanted to see this band live. Now, like I said, it wasn't Vince Guaraldi and the other original bass player, but it was a band that Jerry put together. But it was brilliant stuff. So you can watch Jerry on YouTube playing with that band, not just Vince Guaraldi Trio. So I highly recommend you go and check Jerry out on YouTube, because the brush playing and the drumming is brilliant. A couple more questions, and then we're going to call it a day here. Did you find a keyboard player for your band, Radio Chaos? Sort of. I have two potentials. One guy, I mean, musicians are odd people. We're all a little, you know. One guy, I don't know, I liked him. He seemed really great. And then he got weird in my interview with him online. I don't know, he just got weird. I can't even explain it. He just, all of a sudden, I'm talking, and all of a sudden he goes, okay, Tim, well, that's great, I gotta go. And he just, and I'm like, whoa, what just happened? Like, I didn't understand his exit. He must have got tired of me rambling. I don't know. I try not to ramble in interviews. I ask more questions, and I listen when I'm interviewing people, as opposed to me talking. Obviously, I talk a lot on these things, because if I don't, it's just going to be tumbleweed. So we don't want tumbleweed, so I talk a lot during this. But in my real life, you guys are going to laugh. In my real life, I actually don't talk a lot. I'm actually a quite quiet person. So I don't think I was rambling in this interview, because that's not my style. I don't know. Something happened. He just disappeared in the interview. I've talked to him a couple times since, briefly, very briefly. He still seems interested, but I'm just not sure. Then I had another guy who from Liverpool, England, the home of the Beatles, and he seemed like a pretty cool guy. Unfortunately, he has not sent me the material I asked for at this point. So I'm still waiting for that, because I'm doing sort of auditions over Zoom, because the band hasn't quite started up yet, because the singer's unavailable. She's off touring with a theater show. I'm not sure which one. I'm not sure if it's Lion King or Mamma Mia, but it's one of those big shows. I don't know which one. And she's a touring singer in theater. But she's going to be working with me. She's worked with me in the past, and she's going to be working with me again, and she's awesome. So once the band does get up and rolling, I will absolutely let everybody know, and you can meet everybody, and the band's going to be awesome. The bass player, Tim, who's an amazing musician, he keeps constantly contacting me. He's so excited to get this band started. He just can't wait. I mean, the songs we're going to be playing are very, very heavy bass and drums. And I wanted it that way because I want to get the crowd moving. I want every single person out of their seat, every single show. That's my goal. I want everybody, even you know, the angriest, most, this band sucks, you know. I want that guy out of his seat as well. So, yes, so thank you very much. That's a great question. So, all right, guys, any other questions? Now is the time. I'm going to make sure that I haven't missed any here. Okay, I don't think I missed any. Pretty sure. If I have missed something, if you've been waiting for me to answer your question, retype it now. I'm sorry if I missed it. I hope I didn't. I'm trying not to do a repeat of my last live stream. So, but yeah, I'm excited to get the band rolling. It won't be till probably January, February. Still haven't officially hired a keyboard player, to finally answer your question. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. That's fantastic. Thank you very much for that super chat. Thanks for taking the time to answer all my questions. My pleasure. I enjoy that. I really enjoy coming on here with people that watch my channel and people that just found my channel. The guy that mentioned that he just stumbled across it, you know, if it wasn't for you guys, the channel wouldn't exist. And that's what I was trying to get across also when I was talking about my Rockstar video. Without the fans, rock stars are not rock stars. They're nothing. They're just, well, not nothing, but they're ordinary people. You know what I mean? Not that ordinary people are nothing, because that's a lot of ordinary people are the most amazing people. But to become a rock star, you've got to have your fan base. You got to have people that buy your merch. You got to have people that go to your shows, that buy your records, your CDs, your downloads, whatever. You have to have that, and you have to treat your fans appropriately. Now, one of the things I mentioned quickly here, I'm going to tell you guys another funny story really quick. Occasionally I get recognized. And my son thinks it's hilarious. I was in Canadian Tire, music stores. I get recognized a lot in different music stores, which is funny. And it's funny because I can tell, you know, when someone's looking at you and they're looking away, they're looking at you, you're looking away, and it's the old, where do I know this guy from? I recognize this guy. And then I remember I was in a music store in Montreal, or sorry, not Montreal, in Burlington, sorry. And this guy kept looking at me, and then I start talking. He recognizes my voice, and that's how, in his mind, that's him. That is Tim, the guy from YouTube. So then he came up to me and said, sorry to interrupt, but are you a YouTuber? And I said, yeah, I'm a drumming YouTuber. I subscribed to your channel. And then we had a chat, and we had some photos, and it was awesome. Now, like I said, when you're Michael Jackson or Elvis Presley, I think that grows old pretty quick. But when you're Tim Connolly, it's awesome, because it doesn't happen to me very often. But it has happened to me. And if I try to carry around my stickers with me, here, I'll show you guys. I think I got some here. Oh, yeah, I do. So I got some of these. I got a bunch of different ones, but I got these stickers that I try to carry around with me. And if somebody recognizes me and they want to get a picture, whatever, I give them a sticker. I've had a lot of kids come up to me. I give all these to my students. Every one of my students gets my stickers, and I also give out prizes, like merch prizes to Drummer of the Month and that sort of thing. So my students really appreciate all that stuff, which is a lot of fun, and it makes it fun for me too. I really love giving stuff away to people, and people appreciate it. And this is the whole thing, you know. YouTube creates, you know, stars too, I guess. And I'm certainly not in the star category, but it is fun when you actually meet someone that comes up to you and says, I really enjoy your channel. I enjoy your stories. I've had people recognize me on my camping channel at campgrounds. That's mind-blowing. A guy came up to me 2 camps ago and says, are you the guy from Connolly Outdoors? I said, yes, I am. Came into the campsite, met his son, gave him the tour of the hot tent. They've never camped. They're in an RV camper. They're not in a tent. They've never been around a hot stove and a hot tent. And I gave him a tour, and it was awesome. Meeting people like that appreciate what you do is amazing. And I will never, ever turn anyone away that I get a chance to engage with, whether it be on here like now or in person. So on that note, I am going to thank DYST again. Amazing, man. Thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. And I want to thank all you guys for tuning in, the questions, listening to me, just listening to me, video in, video out. Amazing. There's lots more to come. I got some really cool Christmas stuff coming up, and it's going to be fun. So remember what I said. Check out Jerry Connolly, Vince Guaraldi Trio, and don't shy away. You drummers that are watching, do not shy away from these bad boys. They are amazing. try not, once again, this thing is out of whack on me. As soon as I touch it, it falls down. That's not good. There we go. It's on a bit of an angle. Sorry, guys. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thank you very much. And as always, keep drumming. See ya.